Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something really special, your ultimate guide to giving your wedding guests an unforgettable experience. From the moment they arrive until the last dance, I'm gonna walk you through the day and how you can make it the most wonderful experience for your guests. And I wanna give you this disclaimer that none of these suggestions are going to add a huge cost to your special day. So when your guests arrive at your venue, it's all about those first impressions. And let me let you in on a little wedding secret. Your guests are not walking in thinking like, oh, what a beautiful fountain, or I love this color scheme. They're thinking these three things. Where's the water? Where are the bathrooms? And what's happening next? Your guests are looking for comfort, not some impressive show of things. The things you planned, the beautiful color schemes, centerpieces, florals, that was for you. That's for your style and your picture of your wedding day. But what your guests care about is comfort. So when your guests arrive, an amazing thing for you to have in place is a few greeters. You can delegate a few family members or friends that might be looking for a job and want to help out. And you can have them greeting guests and showing them where they're supposed to go, where they can be seated for the ceremony or waiting in the meantime. Having those greeters is going to make a huge difference for your guest experience, allowing them to know where to go and what's happening next. And your greeters can also serve a really valuable purpose for one of the tips I'm going to give for the ceremony portion. So your guests are getting to your ceremony spot and they're waiting for your ceremony to begin. A lot of times they're arriving 30 minutes before because we always want to make sure the guests are arriving and their arrival time is before the ceremony actually starts. We don't want to hold up the day. One of the first tips I want to give you for making this a comfortable experience for them is have a few more chairs than the actual guest count for your ceremony. You may think like, oh, we have this many guests, that's how many chairs we need. But think about the groups, the families that may be arriving together, the couples that want to sit together, and people often leave like a space between them and the person sitting next to them. So if you have a few extra chairs, you can help eliminate the discomfort of a group trying to figure out how they can sit together, splitting people up, or even the people that arrive a little later looking around and not seeing a space for them to sit. The second piece of advice for that ceremony time to make it comfortable for your guests, this ties in with the greeters that I was talking about before. Have your greeters hand your guests a wedding program. This program will give them a little entertainment, a little bit of knowing what to expect. It's a great way to just give them something to do while they're sitting there. Maybe add a little word hunt in it or a quiz about the two of you. Anything simple for them to read or do. I know for me, when I go somewhere and I actually have something physical to hold in my hand, it just makes me feel a little more comfortable, gives me something to read if I'm trying to avoid awkward conversations. If you're not a small talk person, having something to hold and look at is a great way to give your guests something to do while they're waiting for your ceremony to begin. So what happens after you come down the aisle? If you want to have an unplugged ceremony, make sure that you have your officiant let your guests know about this ahead of time. And one tip I'll give you that will make your guests feel a little better about putting their cell phones away is tell them they will have a 30-second opportunity after you two are standing at the altar for them to all take out their phones and get their picture, their pixelated Google whatever phone that they want to take a picture on. Just give them 30 seconds to do that before asking them to put their phones away. It's a great way that you can still have that unplugged ceremony, but a lot of your guests, especially maybe some of your older relatives, they really appreciate being able to just take their own picture, have that on their phone to show to their friends. So after you say I do, this is such an exciting part of the day. You and your new partner are running down the aisle together, your guests are cheering, and what happens after that? You two will probably be whisked away. You might be doing family portraits after, or signing the marriage license, or just taking a moment to yourselves. What's going to happen with your guests? They need to know what to expect next. And so make sure that if it's unclear or if there's going to be another location that the cocktail hour is happening, have your officiant address your guests after you recess down the aisle so that they know where they're headed and what's happening next. So now your guests are at cocktail hour. And what are they looking for most? Well, one, they might be a little bit hungry. And you might be thinking, I don't want my guests to fill up so much on the cocktail hour food. We only want to pay for a certain amount of appetizers, or we don't want them to eat all of that and then waste their dinner, right? Here's one huge piece of advice. If you can have trays passed around, it's a great way to circulate the food, making sure that your guests aren't waiting in a long line at cocktail hour or having food served at different tables in different parts of the location that you're at is a great way to ensure that your guests aren't going to be standing in line waiting so much and then getting so hungry while they're in line that they fill up their plate and use up all the appetizers before cocktail hour is over. And please, I really encourage you, don't make cocktail hour more than an hour. It's called cocktail hour for a reason. After about an hour, your guests are gonna be waiting around. They're gonna be getting hungry. They're gonna wanna feel settled into that reception space. And so I encourage you, as you build your timeline, don't make that time last more than an hour. Another way to improve your guest experience during the cocktail hour is adding some interactive elements. One of the best weddings, I'm telling you, like the best I have ever been to, the couple actually had temporary tattoos on a table at their cocktail hour. And the guests were having the time of their lives, putting little tattoos on each other, taking pictures together, signing the guest book. There were so many fun things for the guests to do. And so it made it memorable for them, even though they were waiting around and it was actually a pretty small space and they were a little cramped. They weren't getting restless. They were having a blast because there were things that they could do beyond just standing around waiting for the reception to begin. Other ideas that are really inexpensive or free is doing a human bingo, having them mingle with each other while they try to find someone that's traveled to Italy this year, or finding someone that's wearing blue. Like, human bingo is a really fun activity, and it's a great way to get people mingling and give them something to do besides small talk that some of your guests might be intimidated by. Another free idea is a picture scavenger hunt. This is also a great way to just get some extra memories captured. Maybe ask your guests to take a group photo with someone they don't know, or have some fun ideas for things that they need to capture during a time that, if you're not in cocktail hour, you'll get to see and experience later on. Now we get into the reception time. Here's where the real party begins. In order to not interrupt the flow of the day and to keep the party going and the excitement ramped up, this is how I beg you to structure the timeline for the beginning of the reception. Start with entrances and do your first dances right away. Those can flow into your speeches. Don't do the speeches after dinner. First of all, your speech givers don't want to be feeling nervous while they're sitting down trying to eat dinner. Let them enjoy that. Let them do their speech before dinner. And please encourage your speech givers, keep it to 3 to 5 minutes. No one wants to hear a 20-page essay about how long you've been friends with this person. Like, they want to hear about the two of you, celebrate you guys, and then move into the next part of the party. Don't take up too much time, but get those speeches out of the way before dinner time. It will just make it a more pleasant experience for everyone. Once your guests have had a chance to sit down and eat dinner, this is where it's time to party. Get them on the dance floor. One of the ways that you can really get your guests moving around and get them out of their seats is have some fun interactive game or some prop for them to dance with. You can never underestimate how much more people will dance if they have like a stupid glow stick in their hand, or you give them some kind of lightsaber or some kind of prop to hold. It's such a small thing, but it makes such a difference. And most of the weddings that I've shot, the most fun and the times that the guests are getting the most involved is because they have some little prop or something to make it extra enjoyable and just add a little fun to the party. Try to table hop or give some opportunity for you to chat with your guests, greet them during dinner. Plan it ahead of time in your timeline so that you'll get a chance to greet the guests that you want to talk to. Now, don't stop this video yet. This last piece of advice for the end of your night is literally going to be a game changer. I promise you right now, I have seen this one thing derail so many wedding days, and I don't want it to happen to you too. Typically, a lot of guests leave once the cake is served. So what you're gonna do is have your DJ announce that right after the cake cutting, you two are gonna be playing one of your favorite songs and you wanna get out on the dance floor to dance to it. This way, your guests will know that right after cake cutting, they're not gonna get you caught in long conversations, but you two are gonna get to that dance floor and enjoy those last moments together in your wedding reception that you've planned so long for. Extra points if before you do your cake cutting, you share a short speech thanking your guests for attending and letting them know that it's okay if they wanna head out after the cake is served. Remind them that you two will be on the dance floor if they want to join you there. This ensures that you're not going to get stuck in conversation the whole rest of the night, but your guests feel comfortable that they're not going to be considered rude to do an Irish goodbye and just head out once they're ready. You can thank them and just enjoy the rest of your night knowing that you are getting to have the experience that you planned for, and your guests don't feel guilty about heading out the door when they are ready. And as they're heading out the door, don't forget that a lot of people feel pressure to give wedding favors. And let me tell you right now, most of your guests do not care. Unless it's something that they can eat right away, your wedding favor is either gonna be left at the venue, somehow in the back of their car that ends up getting thrown out later, or you're gonna have one hoarder aunt take like 12 of them and think like, oh yeah, I can definitely melt down these bars of soap for my own soap collection. I mean, I'm telling you right now, unless they can eat it right away, don't bother with a wedding favor. This is gonna save you hundreds of dollars that you don't wanna be buying all the stuff for your guests that they're not even gonna care about. If you wanna have a few wedding favors for specific relatives that you know will be meaningful to them, feel free to tack that onto your thank you note for them later. But don't buy hundreds of wedding favors just to end up having half of them left at the reception. Remember, your guests care about having a fun experience, seeing the two of you celebrating your love, and getting to be a part of that unique experience. They're not looking at how expensive things are. If they are, they're not really a good guest you want to have. But they don't care about those things. They care about their comfort, knowing what to expect, and just having this joyful experience that's not leaving them bored and wanting to go home, but that has them always anticipating the next thing that's gonna happen. If this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe so we can help lots more brides plan their special day. And if you enjoyed this one, here's another one I think you'll like.